¿Qué pasó, güey? It's your homeboy Quetzalcoatl hitting you up with another video. I was checking out the internet today, looking for some boxing stories, and I ran across a story that's saying that there's going to be a Danny Garcia versus Erik Morales rematch that's coming up in the fall. And I read that, I was like, what the fuck is really going on? You know what I'm saying? If you haven't seen the first fight, Danny Garcia won a clear, easy decision against Erik Morales. Matter of fact, at the end of that, toward the end of that fight, he knocked Erik Morales down, and for a minute there, it looked like he was going to stop Erik Morales late in that fight. You know, motherfucking Erik Morales was hurt. You know, when he went down, that motherfucker went head down, head first. You know, fue a visitar las hormigas. You know, it's a Spanish saying. You know, saying that he went to go visit the ant pile. And you know, Danny Garcia. You know, he beat a faded Erik Morales that was, you know, nowhere near his prime. Just a shell of what he used to be. And, you know, now he's going to, you know, fight him again. And like I said, I mean, I just don't like this fight all the way around. You know, for Danny Garcia is coming off of a huge motherfucking victory against Amir Khan. Did him nasty. Got him, coach. You know, that type of shit. And he could have used that momentum to capture another big fight. A fight that I have in mind right now is probably a real dangerous fight for him. But I mean, if he would have been able to win that fight, definitely would have put him into the not the upper echelon elite, but definitely in line to you know, get a huge pay-per-view fight. Is if he would have, you know, decided to fight Lucas Matisse. Lucas Matisse is somewhat similar to Sergio Martinez, like, you know, what I was discussing in my earlier video. You know, Lucas Matisse is one of those fighters that's heavily avoided and has the skill and the power and the will to beat a lot of big name fighters in 140 pounds. But he's just being avoided. Soto stepped up and Soto stepped down. You know, watch that fight, you see how is that step down. And you know, Danny Garcia is choosing to fight a faded Erik Morales. Like I said, someone that's nowhere near his prime. You know, even the first time that he fought Erik Morales wasn't the great Erik Morales that a lot of hardcore boxing fans knew that he once was in his prime. You saw Erik Morales gave it everything he had, but he just wasn't there. And for Danny Garcia, that first fight, it was a good win for Danny Garcia as far as having that on his resume. You know, Erik Morales is of course going to be a future Hall of Fame fighter, and for Danny Garcia to have a victory over him, that would look very good for Danny Garcia down the line. But to be fighting him again, I mean, there's just no point in that. You know, and for Erik Morales, it's just like, you know, he spoiled a perfect opportunity to, you know, ride off into the sunset, you know, on a good note. And that was after he captured the 140-pound title from Cano. He could have retired at that time, and that would have made up for all the fights that, you know, he shouldn't have had after his prime. But he decided to spoil that, and he fought Danny Garcia, and he lost the belt. You know, for Erik Morales, the perfect time for him to have retired probably would have been after the first Pacquiao fight. You saw in the first Pacquiao fight, he wasn't completely in his prime, but he still had enough in the tank to get the job done. He was able to outbox Pacquiao. After that fight, he fought Zahir Brahim, who's a relatively unknown fighter. You know, when was the last time you seen Zahir Brahim fight? Exactly. You know, and Zahir Brahim pretty much completely outboxed Erik Morales. Erik Morales looked like shit. And, you know, immediately after that fight, you know, he fought Pacquiao, and Pacquiao destroyed him. You know what I'm saying? Shut him down. You know, all control delete on that nigga. And, and you know, it was sad to see that to Erik Morales, because Erik Morales was one of my favorite fighters of this generation. And, you know, he was the type of fighter that when you hurt him, he would come back. You know, he would fight you. You know, he had a lot of heart. And in his prime, you know, he was able to do that. But now, you know, he doesn't have the timing, or he's fighting in a higher weight class, so he definitely doesn't have the power to do that. And, it's just one of those things. It's like seeing Roy Jones. You know, Roy Jones should have retired after he fought John Ruiz, but instead he decided to keep on fighting, and then he got knocked the fuck out by Antonio Tarver. You know, Glenn Johnson, had Roy Jones motherfucking dreaming like immediately. You know, he should have never lost to Danny Green in the first round, or lost to the Russian dude in the last round. The prime Roy Jones, that would have never happened to him. You know, nowadays Roy Jones, he sees somebody throwing a punch and Roy Jones gets knocked out. And it's just sad to see shit like that, because in Erik Morales and Roy Jones's case, the hardcore boxing fans will never forget what type of fighters these two individuals were in their prime. But the casual boxing fans will always remember how they were in their downfall. And that's the image that will stick with them. That will stick in history for the most part. And, both fighters are partially to blame for that. And not just for legacy's sake, but also for their own health. You've seen that this sport is brutal. It's unforgiving. You've seen cases like with Bobby Chacon and Meldrick Taylor, where Bobby Chacon has dementia and brain damage, as well as Meldrick Taylor. Their speech has been very affected because of boxing, because of the blows that they've sustained to their head, and just their quality of life has completely changed due to boxing. And these fighters, Roy Jones and Erik Morales, both still have their speech is still coherent. They don't appear to have any signs of brain damage. I think it would be good for them just to step aside, and just retire. But we're gonna see Erik Morales fight again. To me, most likely Danny Garcia is gonna win a clear victory. I'm rooting for Erik Morales, but I'm also aware of the reality of the situation, and Erik Morales most likely is gonna get knocked out. But I want to know your input. What do you feel about the fight? Who do you think is gonna win? What do you feel about Erik Morales' legacy? Do you think that he's fucking up his legacy by continuing to fight? Or Roy Jones himself, too? But this is Quetzalcoatl. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and I'm signing the fuck on now.